When it comes to QBs at Bama, you think of Milroe, now Ty Simpson and Keelan Russell, but can Bama sign another QB yet? Let's analyze the news. First, subscribe to the channel. Alabama never stands still when it comes to quarterbacks. Even with Keelan Russell already guaranteed for the 2025 class, the Tide continues to look to the future, and, for 2026, the search for a big name is just beginning. The challenge is great, but history shows that Alabama never shy away from this type of competition. The reality of recruiting has changed. Today, an elite QB is not only looking for a great program, but also a real opportunity to play early in a competitive nil package. This means that convincing a five-star talent to commit requires not only tradition, but also strategy. Kalen DeBoer and his staff know this and have already started the movement. The Tide has already extended offers to 5 quarterbacks for 2026. The problem? 3 of them have already committed to other programs. That leaves 2 big names in the mix, Jared Curtis and Ryder Lyons. Of the 2, Curtis seems like the most affordable target. He was once committed to Georgia, but Alabama is now among his top 6, and DeBoer, along with offensive coordinator Nick Sheridan, has already taken a visit to reinforce his interest. All indications are that the Tide will remain strong in this competition. But recruiting quarterbacks is never easy. Keelan Russell, for example, only received an offer from Alabama in April of last year. That means new names could emerge at any time, and the Tide scouts are always on the lookout for talent who have not yet received an offer. One such potential target is Landon Duckworth, a dual-threat quarterback from Jackson High School in Alabama. He already has offers from top programs like Georgia, Florida State, and Ole Mississippi. If the Tide want to get in on the action, they will need to act fast. What's clear is that Alabama can't afford to make a mistake with this pick. The quarterback position defines the success of a program, and with Jalen Milroe's departure on the horizon, ensuring a smooth transition for the next few years is crucial. The 2026 recruiting process still has a lot of moving parts, but one thing is for sure, Alabama never settles for less when it comes to the game's most important position. Jermaine Burton is walking a tightrope in Cincinnati, and the question now is, will the Bengals continue to wait for him to mature or will they move in a different direction? For the second time in 2 months, the former Alabama wide receiver has been issued an eviction notice, raising even more questions about his future in the NFL. On the field, his impact as a rookie was minimal, and off the field, his problems have been piling up to the point where the team's patience may be wearing thin. Cincinnati was blunt when it came to asking general manager Duke Tobin what Burton had done to deserve a roster spot. The answer? Nothing. It's clear that if the young wide receiver wants to keep his spot, he needs to change quickly. Tobin acknowledged Burton's talent, but he also made it clear that the team knew the risks involved in selecting him in the 3rd round of the 2024 draft. Now, the Bengals are waiting to see the rewards of that gamble, but Burton hasn't made it easy. If his off-field issues were cause for concern, his on-field performance didn't help either. He only caught 4 passes for 107 yards in 131 offensive snaps, and he also returned 13 kickoffs for a 29.1-yard average. In November, when the opportunity to replace T. Higgins seemed to fall into Burton's lap, he ended up being benched at the last minute by head coach Zach Taylor. The reason? The coach simply said that we had to handle our business the right way, a statement that clearly indicated that something behind the scenes wasn't right. Looking ahead, the timing of this situation couldn't be worse for Burton. The Bengals already have to deal with the uncertainty surrounding T. Higgins' future, who could test the market as a free agent and seek a contract in the $100 million range. On top of that, Ja'Marr Chase wants a long-term deal and has made his dissatisfaction known by missing practices in the past. In a scenario where the team needs to plan its payroll carefully, there is no room for a player who does not deliver on the field and still causes problems off it. Nick Saban, who coached Burton at Alabama, had already warned that the wide receiver needed more emotional maturity to survive in the NFL. The coach emphasized that Burton always had the right focus on the field, but that his life off it needed more structure and discipline. And that seems to be the big question. Talent has never been a problem for Burton, but will he be able to become the professional that the NFL demands? For now, the Bengals are still keeping the door open. Taylor himself made it clear that he believes in the player's potential, saying that Burton's best days are still ahead of him. But in the NFL, opportunities don't last forever. If he doesn't start showing improvement quickly, Cincinnati may not think twice about moving on. Strange, that. If there's one thing that can never be underestimated at Alabama, it's the recruiting powerhouse. Even though Kalen DeBoer's second offseason has gotten off to a more subdued start, the Tuscaloosa backroom staff continues to work at a high level to ensure the Crimson Tide's future remains high. And the latest move in that direction is a scheduled visit with Ikem Ugboko, one of the most promising offensive line prospects in the 2026 class. Ugboko, a 6'4", 270-pound tackle, is already a name that's already drawing national attention. Rated a 4-star recruit and the 4th best offensive lineman in the country by 247 Sports, he's a contender for several top programs. Alabama, Clemson, Georgia and Notre Dame are already in the running for the talent from Durham, North Carolina. But the Crimson Tide has one ace in the hole. Ugboko was already in Tuscaloosa for Junior Day on February 1st, a visit that certainly strengthened the bond between him and the university. Now, with an official return scheduled for June 7th, DeBoer's team has a crucial opportunity to reinforce its argument that Ugboko's future should be at Bryant-Denny Stadium. In addition to being a physical beast on the offensive line, Ugboko also shows his versatility on the basketball court, where he averages solid 7.7 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 0.5 blocks. That kind of athletic background always catches the eye of coaches, especially at Alabama, which has already secured another multi-sport phenom in the 2025 class in tackle Jackson Lloyd. Ugboko may not split time with baseball like Lloyd does, but the mobility and agility he displays on the court are rare for someone his size. The recruiting process is far from over, and Alabama will need to overcome some serious competition to bring Ugboko to Tuscaloosa. But the reality is that the Tide have proven year after year that they know how to make big-time signings when they really want a player. If there's one name to watch in the coming months, it's this one. And if Ugboko decides to don the crimson and white, Kalen DeBoer could add another elite piece to a department that has been instrumental in Alabama's success for decades. College football in the SEC has always been marked by intense rivalries, memorable plays, and a relentless fight for dominance. Alabama, over the years under Nick Saban, has become synonymous with excellence in recruiting and on-field performance. However, with the retirement of the legendary coach, a new chapter is beginning to be written, and rivals are moving to fill the void left by this iconic era. One such story that promises to shake things up is Ole Miss' attempt to lure Kemharian Johnson, a local prospect from Alabama, to its base in Oxford. Kemharian Johnson is not just another name on the recruiting list. He is a true Alabama product, coming out of Muscle Shoals High School, and has already drawn interest from major programs such as Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Mississippi State. But of course, Alabama is also in the running, offering an offer that reflects its status as a national power. For many young athletes in the state, putting on a Crimson Tide uniform is something that is inherent to the local sports culture. But Ole Miss coach Lane Kiffin seems determined to change that and show that recruiting doesn't have to follow traditional paths. Johnson's visit to Ole Miss, scheduled for March 22nd, is more than just a chance for the player to tour the facilities and talk to the coaches. It's a strategic moment, a chance for Kiffin and his staff to show that they can offer something different, something special. Ole Miss has worked hard to build its own identity in the SEC, and plucking a recruit from Alabama's backyard would be a significant symbolic coup. This isn't just about getting a talented player, it's about sending a clear message: Alabama's dominance in recruiting may be over. It's important to note that Johnson isn't the most hyped prospect in the 2026 class, but his edge rusher position and natural ability are certainly eye-catching. He has the ideal physique to make an impact at the college level, and his number 29 ranking in the country is a reflection of his potential. For current Alabama coach Kalen DeBoer, keeping local players in the program is essential to maintaining the team's strength. After all, Alabama has always been a goldmine for talent, and losing an athlete like Johnson to a direct rival would be a significant setback. Kiffin, on the other hand, knows exactly what he's doing. He has a history of innovation and boldness, both on and off the field. His ability to attract players who might otherwise opt for more traditional teams has been a cornerstone of Ole Miss's growth in recent years. And while the program has yet to make the playoffs during his tenure, the relevance it has gained in the conference is undeniable. Poaching a recruit from Alabama would be more than a recruiting win. It would be a statement that Ole Miss is ready to compete at a new level. The current recruiting landscape in the SEC is fascinating. Without the looming shadow of Nick Saban hanging over everything, other coaches are feeling more confident about pursuing players who once seemed unattainable. That doesn't mean Alabama is weakened, far from it. Kalen DeBoer inherited a machine and has all the tools to continue that legacy of success. But the competition is fiercer than ever, and every move counts. For Alabama fans, this is a worrying situation. Losing a homegrown player to a rival like Ole Miss would be a huge blow, especially since it could set a precedent for future recruiting battles. For Ole Miss fans, Kiffin's potential to bring Johnson to Oxford is a sign that the program is moving toward new heights. Regardless of the outcome of this particular contest, one thing is certain: the balance of power in the SEC is shifting, and the next few years promise to be full of surprises and twists. College football is about much more than just 60-minute games. It's about building connections, creating identities, and fighting for every little advantage. Kamarion Johnson, though just a high school prospect, is at the center of a much larger narrative. His fate, whatever it may be, will be a reflection of the changes taking place at the heart of the SEC. And as fans and analysts speculate about the future, one thing is certain: Alabama will remain a juggernaut, but it now faces renewed challenges from rivals who are ready to give it their all.